Whew. Hey, it is so cold. This is where big, awesome, audacious marketing ideas go to die. Yep, I'm in a cemetery somewhere in Pennsylvania. Last week on the Loyalty Loop, I invited you to ponder this. What is your client or customer's biggest post-purchase concern? That means that after they've bought from you or committed to your product or service, what are they worried about most? And the answer to that question is going to help you pitch big, audacious ideas that get buy-in from executives, and that's what I'm going to uncover today. How you can use the answer to that question to pitch bigger and better ideas that actually have a chance of seeing the light of day. All of that and more on this episode of the Loyalty Loop from right here in the middle of Pennsylvania and a cemetery. So here's the deal. When you pitch an idea that might affect your company's ability to acquire customers, you're more likely to get shot down. However, when you pitch an idea that is meant to change the experience for an existing customer, an already acquired customer, you'll have a much higher likelihood of actually getting it implemented. What does this mean? This means if you focus on the moment of commitment in your loyalty loop, that could be a commitment for an email address to subscribe to your newsletter, or it could be a sales commitment, someone who's purchased your product or service. I want you to consider their biggest concern. That's why I asked you the question last week. When you understand your client or customer's biggest post-purchase concern, you can now start to address that concern by doing something different. This sounds great, Drew, but exactly what do you mean? Here's what I mean. Let's assume for a second that you are a contractor. Yes, a contractor that works on houses. And let's take every client and customer's biggest post-purchase concern, which is, number one, are they going to show up? And number two, are they going to show up and do the work I expected, even though I'm not going to be home when they're working on the outside of my house? Those are two huge concerns. Now take those concerns and I want you to make a list. On one column, I want you to put out all the things that you do as soon as you sign up a new client or customer. And in this case, as a contractor, maybe you send them an email thanking them and telling them you're going to show up on Wednesday the 3rd. Maybe after that, you call to confirm that the 3rd is going to work for them. Maybe you email them and remind them that you're going to show up tomorrow, a day before the actual contract is supposed to start. Or maybe you don't do anything. Now that you've got this list of things that you do after you've got that moment of commitment, make a list of the things that other contractors do, or in your case, whatever it is, whatever your competitors do. Now I want you to compare the two lists. Are you doing everything that the competition is doing? If so, you're exactly like the competition. You're not doing anything different. And more importantly, you're not addressing your customer or client's biggest post-purchase concern. So here's where I want you to get creative. Get creative. Cross off all the things on your list that are on the list of your competition. Start building a post-purchase loyalty loop experience that actually is different. And I want you to think big, because if you think big and you pitch those ideas to your executive team, you'll have a much higher likelihood of getting those ideas implemented. And at the end of the day, I didn't get into marketing to just follow the best practice or solve problems. I got into marketing because I wanted to be creative. I wanted to change people's lives by actually making their lives better. And I'm sure you did too if you're watching this video. So take a few moments to make your list. And next week on the Loyalty Loop, I am going to introduce you to one guy who transformed his business by doing something different, by making these lists and actually building a loyalty loop experience that transformed his business. I've got to jump in the car and head to the airport, but before I do, we're going to have a moment of silence for all the great ideas that are buried here in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, in a random cemetery in the early morning. Let me be completely honest. I actually thought this was a park, and it turns out it's a cemetery, but it worked. See you next week on My Loyalty Loop.